Imagine walking away from your home. Not fleeing. Not dying. Just leaving. Now imagine 18,000 people doing it together. No invasion. No plague recorded in the bones. A city of gold, of carved stone, of trade routes that stretch to the Persian Gulf, simply emptied. This is not a mystery invented by historians. This is the silence left behind by one of the greatest cities sub-Saharan Africa ever produced. Its name survives in the name of a nation. Its stones are still standing. Its people, vanished. At its peak, around 1350 AD, Great Zimbabwe was not a village or a ceremonial site. It was a capital. The political and economic heart of the Kingdom of Zimbabwe, a Shona-speaking civilization that controlled the gold trade across southeastern Africa. Gold. Copper. Ivory. Arab merchants, Indian traders, goods moved through this city that have been found as far away as China. And then there are the walls. 11 meters high. 5 meters thick in places. Nearly 1 million hand-cut granite blocks, stacked with such precision that no mortar was ever used. Think about what that demands. No blueprint drawn on paper. No cranes. A deep, accumulated knowledge of stone, of weight, of load, passed between generations of builders. The Great Enclosure alone required a workforce sustained over decades. This was not the work of a struggling people. This was the architecture of confidence, of a civilization that believed it would last. So why did they leave? For a long time, colonial-era historians refused to accept that Africans built Great Zimbabwe at all. They invented Phoenicians. They invented the Queen of Sheba. The archaeology has since dismantled every one of those claims, completely and permanently. But the real answer is more interesting, and more instructive, than any myth. Start with the land itself. Great Zimbabwe sits at roughly 1,100 meters above sea level, in a region that receives enough rainfall to support agriculture, but only just. By the mid-1400s, the city had been inhabited for over 2 centuries. The surrounding region had been farmed, grazed, and stripped of timber for cooking fires and construction. The soil was exhausted. The game had moved. The water sources that once fed tens of thousands were no longer sufficient. This is not speculation, it is the logic of carrying capacity. Every ecosystem has one. Exceed it long enough, and the land stops cooperating. Simultaneously, the trade networks were shifting. The Indian Ocean commerce that had made Zimbabwe wealthy was migrating north, toward the Swahili coast ports, Kilwa, Mombasa, Sofala. The merchant routes that once ran through the plateau were being bypassed. When the gold no longer moves through your city, the city stops being a city. It becomes a cost. And so, rationally, gradually, the people followed the trade. Not a collapse. A calculated departure. The stones remained. They remain today. And there is something worth sitting within that. A civilization capable of building walls that have survived 6 centuries, and yet the civilization itself could not outlast the land it had exhausted. Great Zimbabwe is not a story of failure. It is a story of a people who read their situation and adapted, who chose movement over collapse. But it is also a mirror. Every civilization in history that has outgrown its resource base has eventually faced the same arithmetic. The walls of Great Zimbabwe ask a question they cannot answer themselves: what is a city worth, if the land beneath it cannot breathe? The stones do not mourn. They simply stand, holding the question open, waiting for someone to learn from it. If you found this story of Great Zimbabwe captivating, please subscribe for more untold histories of Africa. Thank you for watching.